There's nothing left here to remind me of the memories of your face. So take a look at me now.
Gentlemen, we welcome you to today's program. Thank you very much, Mingoli. By the way, how many of us are in HR profession? I'm proud to be an HR. How many are proud to be HRs? That's the question. If I asked about how many are proud to be lawyers, obviously, most people would have done that. All right. So the beauty of this book now is that both the HRs and non-HRs can be able to go through it and able to grasp what HR is all about, because it's a guide, by the way. So it's a guide to whosoever, whether a secretary, whether an accountant, whether a lawyer, or whosoever is involved at a workplace. I've seen representatives from ESCOM. ESCOM needs, obviously, HRs. I've seen Ilofo needs HRs. Even the band, Mingoli needs an HR person. An HR person is such an important person to have. If you're looking for a job, obviously, if you check newspapers, those adverts are done or are written by HRs. If you want to be sustained or to be retained or to have a good working relationship at your workplace, you need an HR. So this is the reason why we are here. But within our field now, there are several things that happen. Sometimes we have accidents that take place while working. What do you do when someone is injured? Obviously, there must be someone to take care, to report those issues, just to make sure nobody loses life whilst at work. But even if you lose life, there must be, you go to work in Malawi or in Africa, we work not just for ourselves. We work for our grandparents, we work for our children, we work for our spouses. Obviously, they trust in you, they depend on you. So when you have been incapacitated, obviously there must be a compensation. I will not waste much of your time because there is someone who is well versed with workers' compensation, both in terms of law and in terms of practice. So I want to introduce to you the next presenter, Mr. Frank Adini. Mr. Frank Adini is the workers. He knows much about workers' compensation. That's his area of specialty. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's clap our hands for Mr. Adini as he's coming with his presentation.
Our guest of honor, Honorable Justice Chimwe Kamoa, who is also, I think, my mentor on issues of labor laws in Malawi, all HR practitioners in the country. My name is Frank Adini. I'm the Chief Labor Officer in the Ministry of Labor, to mainly present some of the work of our colleague, Mr. Chinovi, on issues of workers' compensation, and mainly on the challenges that we have in processing workers' compensation cases. So I will take you through the workers' compensation, mainly on the challenges, not on the whole act as it is. As we know, as HR practitioners, we need to have that act in our offices, and also maybe to also sensitizing our friends, our line managers, including our employee representatives. 5 minutes, so I will just go through because it's 5 to 7 minutes, so I will just go through. We are going to discuss about the challenges on how we process workers' compensation in Malawi. Yeah, next. Yeah, on introduction, I was saying that the function of the workers' compensation department are mainly regulated in the Workers' Compensation Act, number 7 of 2000. You can see that it was some years ago, and there's no need to review the Act. We have already reviewed the Act. We are waiting for the Cabinet and Parliament to pass through on other sections of the Act. And this Act is to provide for and facilitate payment of compensation for injuries suffered or diseases contracted by workers in the course of their employment, or the death that may result from such injuries or even diseases. So compensation is not only on injuries, it also on issues of mainly on diseases that some employees, mainly occupational diseases, may contract in their day-to-day work. But this is difficult in Malawi because mainly we don't have pre-employment medical assessment in many sectors, and also post-employment medical assessment, because occupational diseases, they occur mainly after you have, maybe even if you are already retired. It takes time for you to detect an occupational disease. Okay? And another thing is that we don't have occupational diseases experts. I understand we have one or two in Malawi, and they are also doing other duties, not mainly on search or of detecting these diseases at the workplaces. Yeah, next. So who is eligible for payment of compensation? One is an employee who has been injured or contracted that same disease at the workplace while working, and that employee was also died to that particular accident. So these injuries must be out of and also in the course of employment. I know we understand it's out of and also in the course of employment. So it's while that person is performing the duties. Okay? Next. Yeah, now how we process compensation. We have forms that are abbreviated WC, which means Workers' Compensation Form. We have Form 1, which is a report form. This form must be with the employer. In this case, each and every HR must have this form. I understand we have this form. We have all of us, and we know how to fill it or to complete it. We know? Thank you so much. So this form is completed by the employer and is sent to the Ministry of Labor, to the nearest labor office, once somebody has been injured. Then there is Form WC2, of which Ministry of Labor informs the employer of the claim of the injury. Okay? There's this Form 2 for non-fatal, and there's 2A for fatal cases. This is also a form that is generated by the ministry at the district level to the employer if it is a fatal case. Okay? Then we have 2B, inform the employer of the claim, and we have also the Form 3, WC3, which is a medical form, a medical report form. On issues of workers' compensation, medical report forms comes from the Ministry of Labor, not from the doctor. Because sometimes people, they say, I go to the doctor and get a medical report. No. Once that injured person has been healed, has to be sent to this labor officer to take the medical report form so that she will go to the hospital with that form. Okay? Then after he has been assessed on the such incapacitation, that medical report form goes to the Ministry of Labor, and that injured person is taken a statement by the labor officer at the labor office using Form WC4. So we use Form WC4. These forms, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, they are in the file of that particular person at the labor office. The next, we have Form WC5, which is now the notification to the employer on on the medical assessment. That medical assessment that has been done, you are notified. You are not given Form WC3 at district level. Because some of the HRs, they come to the district offices. We want Form WC3. We want 1, 2, 3, up to 5. Okay? But you get this Form WC5 on the result of the medical assessment. At that level, that file has been completed at the district level. If it was a FADO, after Form WC2A for FADO, the employer is required to provide medical, is to provide accident report form, and also a list of would-be dependents of that particular deceased person. And it ends there at the district level. Yeah. Then for the claim, the case now goes to the Workers' Compensation Commission. And at the Workers' Compensation Commission, after going through the file, they now come up with Form WC6, which is a claim form. And for non-FADO is 6, for FADO is 6A. Okay? So they come with such forms to employer. And they include Form WC7, which is agreement form, and also attaches the Form WC3, a copy. So the agreement form is that you have agreed to the claim. If you haven't agreed, you need to write the Workers' Compensation Commission that you haven't agreed to the claim. You want that person to go for reassessment. This one should not come from the insurance. Okay? This statement that I've said is from the employer. Maybe the insurance can tell you, I think we are not satisfied with this. But you are the one to write the Workers' Compensation Commission, not the insurance company. Because the Workers' Compensation Commission doesn't deal with the insurances. And there is nothing in the Workers' Compensation Act where it says the insurance companies should take over some of the roles of the process of the Workers' Compensation. Alright? And there is also Form WC8. This is for government employees. If you are a government employee, they attach that Form 8, which is certification from the employer and is completed by the controlling officer of that particular government ministry or agency. Okay? And we have Form WC9. This form is for those who haven't reported, because even if you haven't reported the case, okay, the employee can still report. So when they go to the labor office, they are issued with this form, WC9, and it's an offense. Although I think we haven't gone to the court at the moment, but it's an offense. Okay? And they attach that form WC1 so that it should complete. And for your information, Workers' Compensation issues, they have no limitation period. You cannot say, it was in 2010 or it was in 1999. No, there is no limitation period on Workers' Compensation cases. Yeah, next. Now, responsibilities of the employers. These are, I can just go through. They need to report the accidents and ensure that injured workers get medical examination and treatment, provide injured workers with all the necessary tools for their recovery, provide transport to the injured worker to and from where they are getting medical attention, where necessary, pay injured workers their wages or salaries while they are injured. It's not a sick leave. Others, they combine it with sick leave. It is not like that. Okay? Compensate the injured workers as per the law, and also the employer is responsible for payment of medical expenses according to the Act. See the notice of injuries and claims for compensation, inquire into or cause inquiry to be made because of the injuries, and also they are there also to claim compensations for injured workers, and also determine whether any person is a worker and employer of also submission, consideration and determination of claims for compensation, computation of earnings, and also the degree of incapacity of any worker, and also the amount and method of payment of compensation. If you have got problems on how you can pay the compensation, because some of us, we have even the thresholds at our insurance companies. Mainly, let's say it should not beyond 1 million. Okay, so it has maybe been 15 million. What will happen? Okay, so you can discuss also with the Workers' Compensation Commission, and also with forwarding or revision, discontinuance or suspension of any compensation. That's the duty of the Workers' Compensation Commission. Now we have the challenges in Malawi on the compensation. I think these issues that I'm talking about has been highlighted in the book. So we need to buy the book. All right? I understand we have all bought the book. Is it already on the market? They have already bought it. Thank you so much. Yeah, so there's a lack of public awareness of labor laws in general, and also the workers' compensation processes in particular. I think sometimes maybe we don't have the duty. We are lacking the duty maybe to disseminate this information even to other friends. At the workplace, we have BS, HR managers, directors, but for us maybe to have to find time to disseminate this information is lacking, but it's a thing that we need to do. Yeah. And also there is wrong processes of compensation because it is a manual record keeping system that leads to loss of important information. The process faces delays from the district offices to the workers' compensation. So there are some delays even at the district level officers, and these delays also can come also from the employer as well, and even from the injured worker, okay, on how to, he can go and get the medical assessment. And also delays in honoring payment by individual employers because of subjectivity of percentage of incapacity, like that what I already said. Sometimes we say, this 5%, I think it should be 1% or 0%. Or why it is 50%? Only this. There is a lot of corruption nowadays on issues of compensation. Okay? And we have got a lot of lawyers around going to say, were you injured at any time? Always. If they compensate you, okay? It is happening and we need to be very careful. Yeah. And also the lump sum once of payment, not sustainable. Compensation does not cover the sustenance or duration of the capacity. Sometimes once you have get the amount, it ends there. But the feeling or the pay is still there. Okay? The employers are willingness to pay when the amount is huge. This leads to unwillingness of reporting for work-related accidents. Sometimes when the amount is huge, you have somebody who you are paying about 3 million, and the incapacitation according to the doctor is 50%. That person will get a lot of money, and some employers do not want to pay such an amount. Okay? There is also confusion between the role of insurance companies and workers' compensation commissioner's office. There is that confusion. I think we'll see it. What is it? What is there? That we are going, I think, to discuss that next. Yeah. So let's look at the workers' compensation and insurance. Mr. Girope has highlighted this in his talk. Okay? We have to know that workers' compensation is a law. We don't act with the law. Do we act with the law? Do we say no to the law? Maybe we can say no. Okay? So insurance is a choice that some employers take to cover their employees for injury, for employment injury. So it's a choice. So employer can, who has insured his employees can use the insurance to pay compensation through the Workers' Compensation Act. So they just use it because they are already insured. Okay? So every employer can buy insurance. The act does not stop anyone from taking insurance. So employees can bill the insurance. Because this is indeed a confusion. Because sometimes some employers they say, we have already paid through our insurance. We asked to say, have you processed workers' compensation on this particular individual has come to our office? They say we have already done that with our insurance companies. If anything, you can hear from them. That's what you say sometimes. So Mr. Chinobi has highlighted that confusion that I think we should know how to go about it. Yeah? So thank you so much. This is the work that I was given so that I can highlight. I don't think there will be some questions because it was clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Frank Adini, for the presentation. So he emphasized that in the book, if you buy the book, the new employee will be able to read and see the steps, the do's and don'ts of workers' compensation process. So the induction process is going to be easier for us now. So let us buy the book so that our employees are able to know how to go about the workers' compensation process. Our next presenter, ladies and gentlemen, is a lady. She is presenting on gender and disability challenges at the workplace. Her name is Mrs. Elube Chienda. Mrs. Chienda holds a Bachelor of Arts in Human Resource Management and also a master's degree. She's a seasoned HR practitioner. She also holds a Bachelor of Laws honors degree. She's currently the Social and Gender Inclusion Manager for Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi, ESCOM. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Mrs. Elube Chienda.
Thank you so much. The guest of honor, esteemed colleagues and highly esteemed members present tonight. So my duty basically is to be able to highlight some of the, actually it's one of the topics, one of the chapters in this book, A Guide to Human Resource Management Practice in Malawi. Actually, it's one of those books that I have gone through and found to be, and I've discovered that it's a book that brings a very well balanced fusion of human resource practice as well as several other contemporary issues that the human resource practice is burdened with. And so issues of social and gender have been very well articulated in chapter 8 of this book. And also we have a chapter which is speaking into the issues of disabilities and how to handle them at the workplace. As already indicated, it's a book which is bringing together the general human resource practice as well as the contemporary management issues that we need to be aware of at the workplace, especially when we are practicing human resource. The objectives of chapter 8, which is on gender and employment, are basically three. The first one is to understand the role of employers and employees on issues of gender at the workplace. So the book gives a guideline as it is, because the whole book basically is a guide to human resource practice. So in that chapter, then, it provides a guide to how employers and employees are supposed to handle the issues of gender, especially inclusion at the workplace. The other objective is to appreciate how lack of gender balance affects productivity. In the last objective of that chapter is to understand the consequences of neglecting and perpetrating sexual harassment and gender-based violence at the workplace. Again, these are issues which are just emerging, especially at the workplace. We have a number of cases that have been cited in this book, very interesting. Some of them, of course, very ugly, but they have costed organizations lots of money. And so we need to be aware of such, and the book provides guidelines, or rather guidance, on how such issues should be tackled. Probably one would ask, why is it important in this day to talk about gender and have a whole chapter of gender in a book of human resource? You know, research is very much out there, especially research done by McKinsey. I think most of us are aware of this research organization. In their research done in 2015, 2018, and 2020, I think, there is enormous evidence to show that organizations which have included the issues of gender in their, especially at high level, and also at strategy, and also in their all cadres of their workforce, they are more productive and more profitable than organizations which have ignored these issues in their workplaces. So go and Google McKinsey and Company reports. You'll find lots of evidence to that fact. And therefore, progressive organizations nowadays have taken this opportunity, deliberate, to be able to include the issues of social and gender, and especially women in leadership position at their workplace. Lots of advantages that are stated. Mandate, yes, we have mandate. We have mandate both at international level as well as at local level. For example, the SDG 5, it's clear, it just talks about gender equality in all areas of our operations. Go and read the SDG 5 again. CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. Again, it's another very high-level mandate for organizations to include issues of gender. At national level, briefly, just zero in on the national policy, National Gender Policy 2015, as well as the Gender Equality Act. Actually, the book, this chapter, is also premised on these legal instruments. So what are the problems? The book highlights some of the problems that organizations are facing, especially in issues of social and gender inclusion. There's lack of capacity, actually. We will attest to the fact that most of us actually don't just have know-how on how we can begin to include such issues. We're just used to the practicing of human resource management with a blind eye, with an eye which is so blind to the issues of gender, and we call it gender neutral, okay, eye. That's how we've been practicing human resource, but the book is bringing out these challenges. You know what? There's lack of capacity, actually. That has been, that is the problem. That is the number one problem. Most organizations, even as we speak, don't even know how to go about to ensure that social and gender issues are included in their organization. In their organizations, and so the book brings out practical strategies of how you can go about to include, to start. We get a lot of, some of us in this practice, actually, we get a lot of questions from colleagues in the other industries to say, how do we start, where do we start from, and so on. This book brings out those strategies. The issues of understanding, the issues of, lack of the approach that I've already talked about, and the inherent, understanding that, some of the, industries are male-dominated. Naturally, they have to be like that. All those issues have been highlighted in the book. So what does the book do? Chapter 8 provides solutions to some of these problems. Some of the solutions that have been suggested are issues like affirmative action. I would like to request my colleague. We know that, for example, the Gender Equality Act at section 11, I think, provides the 40 and 60 ratios, which is an affirmative action, basically. So some organizations, like ESCOM, for instance, has taken that has taken that provision actually and embedded it in all the policies, including the social gender inclusion policy, to say, yeah, we'll use this as our yardstick. So issues of affirmative action, and of course, again, in other industries, there's the issue of lack of availability of the suitably qualified women, for example, in the labor market. And then we are coming in with building the pipeline, for example. You're saying we'll develop this industry right from the pipeline throughout so that we can have the required qualified women that we require when we want to recruit them. ESCOM, of course, is another example where we are giving out scholarships because predominantly ESCOM is an engineering company, and we all know that previously even the Polytechnic, now MUPAS, never used to offer these courses, electrical courses and engineering courses to women, only until I think 1998 and so on. So we know that the scarcity of very well qualified ladies on the market, and even those people who qualify, who are selected to do engineering, usually they will request to trust how we can, yeah, that picture, very good. You know, so we realize that even the mindset of the men who are there, also they need to be assisted on how best they can open up the space. Because this space, for example, in many organizations, in many like industries, this space is occupied by men. You find that you go to this organization, it's 90-10, okay? You go to another industry, it's 28. Only the banking sector probably is doing a bit better in this area. But most of our industries, the spaces are occupied by men. Now we need to speak to the men. So the book also talks about the male engagement strategies. Actually, that picture is depicted in the book as well. So you find that there's a lot of guidance on how you can go about mainstreaming gender, as it were, in the other workplace. And also, it's talking about extensively, actually. It has extensively described the issues of sexual harassment at the workplace. Because it's one of the issues that that stops, or rather, that creates an environment which is not conducive for women. Okay, so issues of sexual harassment have extensively been discussed in the book. How do we deal with them? How do we know this sexual harassment? Even issues of cyber sexual harassment that have been clearly described in the book. Cyber sexual harassment has now, maybe we don't realize it, we do it without realizing it, but it's one of the ills of society nowadays. And as employers, we need to be very, very aware, because we will find people reporting to us issues of cyber sexual harassment. How do we deal with them? So that has also been described in the book. Cases, as I said, there's a case of Salome Jumbe versus Vangelan Sokolo. I think to some of us it's a very well-known case. And again, the ugly case of Tamara Kabowa versus Motor NGO, another very ugly case of sexual harassment, and yet the organizations had to pay lots of money. And the book provides guidance. How do we avoid that? Okay, in conclusion, the chapter brings out a lot of thought-provoking questions, very thought-provoking, to guide the human resource practitioners on how best to handle issues of sexual harassment. A whole list of questions is provided. I find that really very challenging and very interesting. And what I can do is just to watch for all HRPs available in this hall tonight, just to get a copy of that book and be very well versed in all these issues that we have talked about. It provides solutions, disability issues on how best, as I've said, to manage live organization problems. Okay, because we have these organization problems with us, so this book provides indeed that guide on how best to tackle these issues. And I would like to congratulate the author, my brother, Mr. Shinovi, for coming up with that. It's not easy. I must say, actually it's very well printed, this book. You know, it's very well done. I was amazed to believe that it was actually done in Malawi. It's a very good book. And I would urge all of us to get a copy in our offices, but as well as even just to have a discussion. I'm sure he can always be available to be invited just to talk on some of the issues and provide the guidance that we need in human resource practice, together with all these emerging contemporary issues that I've talked about. Thank you so very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Much has been said about ESCOM. ESCOM does this, ESCOM does that. ESCOM deserves our... Yes, let's clap hands for ESCOM. But Madam, the last slide, Colossians 3 verse 20.
Yes.
Let's recite it, you and I.
That's one thing I forgot. The book is very much with basics.
Yes, it's
supported
based.
by something.
Exactly. So therefore there is no Jew,
Yes.
nor Greek, no female, no male, but what? Yeah, if it was on the sand, I would have preached.
We are all one.
We are all one. All right, let me co-invite my colleague Victoria. Ladies and gentlemen, so we say human resource management as a practice, most of us, we are proud of that. We've been doing it for some time, and we see it to be an integral part of each and every organization. For an organization to succeed, obviously, human resource, or people as we call it, employees, are the greatest resources that you can have. For you to select such people, obviously you need a profession which is well regulated, and that is human resource. You want to add something?
Yes, what I wanted to emphasize is when a book is written, inside it, that's where there is richness of information. At times we do say the boss says, I can't do A, B, C, D, so I didn't do it. But when it is written, it's difficult to be refuted because you have evidence. So let's buy the book. Let's buy the book, because it is in the book that will clear where there will be a good relationship between the manager and the subordinate, because we are all going in the same direction. There are no double standards, and everyone knows what we're doing is what we have agreed to, with the help of Emmanuel Chinovi's book, a guide to human resource management practice in Malawi.
Yes, so I was saying in a long way, the wildlife people, they will tell you, we have big five in our national parks. We have the leopards, we have the lions, the elephant, and so on and so forth. In human resources, where we have our big five, the Pensions Act, the Workers' Compensation, which our colleague from the ministry told us. We have the Employment Act, we have the Labor Relations Act. What have I forgotten? And OSH, the Occupation Safety. So those are the big five. But now what Emmanuel has done now, he has gone beyond the big five itself. In the book, he's not just talking about the main, what we call the traditional labor law. No, he's gone beyond that. That's why our colleague from ESCOM was telling us about the gender aspect of the book, because nowadays we are mainstreaming gender. We have issues to talk about, to do with HIV and AIDS. We have issues to do with disability. All those issues are well covered in this book. Ladies and gentlemen, you might have so many questions about HR. What Emmanuel has also done, he has also looked into the development of Malawi. How does HR help? Help.
In front, Mingoni Band, please. A soft song for us, so that our panelists should prepare themselves.
And from the High Court, I'd like to call in front Justice. You forgive me, it's my own handwriting, but today I behaved as a doctor. I cannot read my own, I don't know why. You forgive me on that. But our esteemed judge from...
My name is Timbizgadi Matapanachechi.
Thank you very much, Justice. Gentlemen, we welcome you. On behalf of the audience, and perhaps on behalf of Malawians, we have questions To us, we believe that any thoughts put on a paper, they would call it a book. But I think at a certain level, to us, we don't think anything on paper should be called a book. A book should be such which is able to influence opinions. It should be able to change the minds of people. It should be able to contribute something to the community. So I would want to remind us about Malawi 2063. Malawi 2063 is not just a document, but it's a vision of our nation. We would like to have a country which is self-reliant and which is whose development is is inclusive. Everyone is included. So I know the Justice is representing the Minister of Justice, or indeed the judicial part of it, and my other colleagues from the private sector. Perhaps the question, the first one would be, what's your understanding when we talk about a Malawi which is self-reliant and which is inclusive? So we'll take 10, we'll start with the Honorable Justice, then we'll go in that order. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The guest of honor, Honorable Justice Gamoa, the author, ladies and gentlemen. My thinking is that the term inclusive is a very wide term, and it has to be contextualized. We can't just talk about inclusivity without looking at the context. Luckily for me, I think we are talking of human resource here. Human resource, when we talk of human resource, we're also talking of an employment environment, a workplace. So my view, when you talk of inclusivity, you are talking of inclusivity in terms of participation in human resource management at the workplace. Participation by the employer, participation by the employee, sometimes even participation by external stakeholders. Inclusivity may also talk of the issues that were just being highlighted a few minutes ago by Mrs. Gender at the workplace. How inclusive the policies of gender. Inclusivity might also mean inclusivity in terms of disability. How disability friendly are our policies? Are our policies inclusive of those people who are disabled? When we are coming up with our policies, do we consider them? How do we consider employees when we are restructuring our organizations? In the government, we go functional review. I don't know if it's the same as in private sector. Do you have functional reviews? And when you are doing your functional reviews, how are you inclusive of your employees? Are you just going to say our organization is focused on becoming this or that, and therefore this is the type of employees that we want? Are you going to forget the employees who have taken you from where to this particular position? So in my view, inclusivity is talking of a lot of other things. And the way we handle our organizations today, how we include all the sectors of our employees and other stakeholders, is going to have a very great impact on our vision 2063.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Tamanda, what? Yes, we can come for him. Yes, so what's inclusivity? What's, I mean, if we are to achieve self-reliance, from your view, what is it?
All protocols observed. When I was Googling inclusivity, it defined it as a practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized. So for me, what inclusivity means we need to first of all define what we want to include people in. So every single thing that we need to include people in has to be defined. And what this book has done is, we as HR practitioners, when we're practicing what we do each and every day, how do we include our line managers? How do we include the people that deal with human beings at each given time? And in our homes, in our businesses, where we work, how do we include all of that? And them understanding how we deal with human resources as a whole. So that's what it means for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sabanda, you are from the parastate, I guess. What's the parastate's understanding of Malawi 2063, especially about self-reliance and inclusivity? That was the question.
Thank you very much. The first thing is to understand what you mean when you say to become self-reliant. To me, what it means is to stand on our own. As a country, if we were to realize the 2063 agenda, we have to become a country where we have the resources, and when we say the resources, we have the skilled workforce. Mr. Chinov, in his book, he has touched more on that. When it comes to include everyone, what it means is we should not leave anyone behind. As a country, we have to look ahead and see how we can pull everyone towards a goal. Actually, this is contained in the legal framework which governs the Labor Law and the Employment Act, where it is said that there should be no any discrimination in as far as employment is concerned. We shouldn't be looking at the religion, creed, tribe. So to me, that is being inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the next question, it would be you start it and it will go in reverse order. You are an HR practitioner. So the enabler number 5, I should believe, of the Malawi 2063 talks about human capital development, of which I should believe it falls within your area. In your thinking, what are the gaps at the moment as far as achieving the Malawi 2063 is concerned? You as an HR person, yes.
Thank you very much. Let me first of all say that as HR, we have a verse which we say people are the most important resource in an organization, but that is not true. What is true is people are not the most important resource in an organization, but the right people are. So the way to underline is right people. So what we need as a country, when we are looking at the 2063, is to have the right human resource. We should be able to nurture, to develop, to train, and to have a skilled human resource. We have a gap right now, and the gap is we are not yet there. You find that in most of the organizations, we still have expatriates. What it means is we still have that a gap in the skill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From the private sector, Tamand, where are the gaps as far as the Malawi 2063 dream is concerned? Where are the gaps at the moment?
So what is coming to my mind at the moment is, if you look at this room, it's very full of people. If I was to pick 1 or 2 people to talk to the 2016 development agenda for Malawi, would we be able to do that? So that would be gap number 1. If we don't know where we're going, chances are we're not planning towards to getting where we're going. And even in organizations that we work with, it is important that we align with the human resource, because these are the citizens of Malawi. Them understanding where Malawi is going, them understanding where your organization contributes to the 2016 developmental agenda would be key. for us to achieve anything for Malawi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Justice, you are from the judiciary. We have, we talk about labor law. I mean, the whole bookshelf can be filled with those laws. But are they enough for us to achieve 2060, or there are any gaps? If there are any gaps, what are they within your field?
My thinking, and I've been privileged because I'm not just a professional, a technical one. I've just moved from the management position of my workplace. My view is here in Malawi, in terms of law and policy, to be fair to ourselves, we are mostly good. The major problem is, do we really know that we have those laws and policies? And if we know, do we really know how to implement them? I think that's where the problem is. Maybe that's where now this book might become handy. My interaction with the public, with the organizations, employers and the like, in my line of work, has made me conclude that most of us, even the human resource practitioners, most of us do not really know what the law says. Or if we know it, we deliberately ignore the law. So my real thinking is that the gap is really in how we implement the law as a country. Because most of those cases that we handle, and probably my lady Justice Kamau will agree with me, there are very obvious things, very obvious mistakes. The law is clear, but it's us. And you know that there are many countries who come here to learn as how we implement, they learn our law, they learn our policies, but we are failing to implement. So I think the problem is either we don't have the knowledge, or we don't know how to implement that particular knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before I allow you to consider, before I ask maybe my fellow listeners there to ask you questions, maybe one or two, before you there is a book, 340 pages, about 9 if not 10 chapters. How does the book now talk to the Malawi 2063? Where are the links? I know you've gone through the book. Obviously, Mr. Emmanuel Chinovi, his research, 5 years research, or he did a dream which started in 2017 when he had just started working and been researching over the years. Obviously, the book must be speaking to Malawi 2063. Where are the links? So I'll start with my esteemed dear Amanda. Any links in the book and Malawi 2063?
Okay. Where there's a link, where I see there's a link, in 2063 Development Agenda, there's chapter 4, which talks about mindset change, and it talks about human capital development. That's in chapter 4 of the 2063. What Mr. Chinovi has done is, for me, putting it very clearly to everyone how we do our job, which now creates an environment where we all understand each other in terms of how we deal with our human resource. The human resource that is going to be able to shift what Malawi is going to get to. And what this book has done is to create an environment where there's transparency, where people understand the processes. There was one presenter that came in front, talked to workers' compensation. The process is very clear. It doesn't have to be very difficult. So if we do understand that, then everybody else is able to get to this book and understand some of the processes that are not even supposed to be hidden by ourselves as HR practitioners, then it starts to shift the minds of people around what HR practitioners will be hiding and not hiding. Things that we hide and we're not supposed to be hiding. They are supposed to be very clear to everybody. So that's why I'm saying the link of this book towards that. Thank you.
Mindset change. All right. Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much. To me, the book really aligns with the Agenda 2023. My colleague has talked of the mindset change, which is very important. But also, Mr. Chinov, in his book, he has touched on the issues of organizational culture. We all know that a country is also an organization. We need to have a culture that can take us forward. We have always said some of the things that we believe in, some of the way that we do things, they talk to issues of development. So to me, the issue of organizational culture is paramount. They always say that any organization that performs well, there must be discipline. Disciplined organization always perform well. An example is schools. If we ask here, everyone scrambles for a place in the Catholic school. Why? Because we know that the Catholic schools have got discipline. So as Malawians, we need to be disciplined. We need to have a culture that can take us forward, which is called organizational culture. And in this book, I'll call it the country culture. So let's have a culture which resonates to what we want to have in 2063. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And lastly, Justice, you said our problem is implementation, but still I think not all is lost. The book still has something on that. How does it speak to the Malawi agenda?
Thank you very much. Indeed, this book does speak to the concerns that I had, the gaps towards our fulfilling the 2063 agenda. Chapter 10 of the book, titled Human Resource Management and Economic Development, Mr. Chinove quotes in his introduction Ray 1998, who says economic growth that spreads benefits equitably among the population is always welcome. Growth that is distributed unequally needs to be evaluated not simply on the basis of overall change, but on the grounds of equity. So, you know, one of the things that the 2063 agenda emphasizes on is equity and equality. We say we want to have an inclusive development. If we are going to have an inclusive development, we need to make sure that our employees know their rights, know their duties. Our employers know their rights, know their duties. The government is able to facilitate the transfer of that knowledge to the employers, to the employees. And after having that knowledge, because we all say knowledge is power, after that knowledge is properly transferred, both the employers and the employees, then things will move safely. There are a lot of other things that will follow after people actually understand what they're supposed to do. After people have knowledge of what they're supposed to do. So at the end of the day, the book emphasizes on the need for us to achieve equity by making sure that the government facilitates the transfer of knowledge to the employees and to the employers, and also implements most of those policies. Some very straightforward policies, such as inspection of workplace, is not done effectively as at now. But the book suggests that the government should strengthen those particular things. So I think the book does link the 2063 development to human resource management. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So I go to work at 8 o'clock, I knock off at 5 o'clock. In other words, I spend almost 9 hours of my day at work. When I go home, I'm tired. Obviously, if I'm to be a better person, a productive person, mainly it's what I've learned or how I practice my life at work. So what we are saying is the HR themselves, if it's a matter of mindset change, as she put it, it's at work. If it's a matter of being productive, it's at work. It depends on the policies that are there. If they are repressive, obviously, it also reflects on me. And it's not just on me, obviously on the people that I'm living with, my village, and so on and so forth. And it also reflects on the development of Malawi. before you give me your last thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, maybe there might be just one question from the audience to our panelists before they give us their last thoughts. Everything was well articulated. Yes, so I clap hands for everything. That's all. Yes. You might have a word or two, each one of you, on the book and on Malawi 2063 agenda. Maybe just a minute to each one of you. Yes.
Thank you very much. Most of the books that we have out there are labor laws. So a lot of the authors of books on human resource have authored books on labor laws. This is, for me, this is my first encounter with human resource practice. So chances are that most of the organizations deal with their employees on the basis of those labor laws books, but those are too legalistic. They only prepare you for the court, but they do not prepare you to face your employee. In my view, you guys should make sure that you get hold of this book. It will help really so much as to how you interact with the rest of the employees. And in my view, if we properly interact with the rest of the employees, all these things about changing culture, changing mindset will come automatically, and they will help us. And we can also, since I know that we human resource officers are also employees here, yes, so you buy the book not just because you are going to manage someone. You buy the book so that you also can know how to interact with the systems. Thank you very much.
I think from me is congratulations to Mr. Emmanuel Chinovi for doing this for the HR practitioners in Malawi, just to provide that guide that perhaps is in so many spaces, so many books, and not in one. So if you can grab a guide to human resource management practice in Malawi, then you are assured that everything that you need as an HR practitioner is there. So for me is congratulations and well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me echo what Amanda said. Congratulations to Mr. Chinovi. This is a pace-setter. It's a top-notch job. It's actually a game changer in the arena. To colleagues here, we all know that human resource management is not the duty of a human resource practitioner only. Actually, us, we are just consultants. Human resource management is the duty of every manager. What we have here is a tool that we can share with our managers on how best to manage human capital. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, panelists, for your time. I will allow you to go and take your seat. Let us clap hands for them as they are resuming their seats. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, it's getting now more hot and hotter, because the man of the moment is about to walk on stage. So, if possible, let those people that are helping with the furniture and everything help me, because we are about to welcome on stage the man of the moment. But maybe we can just stand up, and then my dear sister is going to tell us who is this man of the moment. So let's just be on our feet.
Ladies and gentlemen, born on 16th November 1980, Emmanuel Innocent Chinovi is a seasoned HR professional and at times administrator who has worked with different organizations ranging from non-government organizations, private sector, and currently working with Lilongwe Water Board. He has over 15 years working experience. He holds a master's degree in business administration, and also he is a University of Malawi bona fide student who studied Bachelor of Arts in Public Administration. Mr. Chinovi is a prolific writer and also a consultant under Change Consult Group. He is also training as a welder and Chisomo metal welding. So when you're looking at Mr. Chinovi, he's a complicated man. He's very diverse in his skills. He does not look at work as a single way of earning income and also showing his expertise. So he is very good with training, consultancy, welding and fabrication. And so if you find him at his office, he's a good administrator. If you consult him, he'll be able to give you all those consulting skills that everyone needs. And now he has given the HR profession in Malawi at large the writing skills that he has by producing this book, a guide to human resource management practice, specifically in Malawi. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first edition, and we are waiting for more editions to come. Maybe he is going to be the Armstrong, the Michael Armstrong of Malawi, who is now at 15, if not 16th edition. Mr. Chinovi, welcome to the podium.
Let us put our hands for Mr. Chinovi, the man of the moment. He has a story to tell each one of us.
His brief speech to tell us more about his book, A Guide to Human Resource Practice, and more specifically to Malawi. Mr. Chinovi.
Good evening. Honorable Kamoa, Justice of the High Court, the IPM President, Mr. Godwin Ngoma, who is also my elder brother, Your Honor, Justice Chipizan Kacheche. By the way, there is another story which I will not share with you about Justice Kacheche, but we joined the Chancellor College in the same year, so in the same hostel, so we're also moving together most of the times. Yeah, so it's my pleasure that she's here. Thanks so much, Justice Kacheche. My mom, I think, is here. Yeah, so maybe my mom, my wife, and also my first daughter child, my sister. Maybe my family. Yeah. And also my in-law, who happens to be a husband to my sister. If he's around, okay, maybe he has gone out. Yeah, but thanks so much for all of you who are here to witness this occasion. I'm very, very happy that I'm here tonight and also to present this book to you. And secondly, let also me thank all people who have been involved in this particular work. Firstly, my former CEO, Chief Executive Officer, when I was working with National Council for Higher Education, who is my role model, Dr. Ignacio Jim. Maybe you can just stand. Yeah, Dr. Ignacio Jim is a man of few words, but we joined together National Council for Higher Education at his inception stage in 2014. But after 2 years, he told me, Mr. Chinovi, I see like you like writing in different issues. One day think of writing a book. So I'm happy that he is here to witness this fruit. Thanks so much, Doc. And also, I think the book has been edited. He's also one of the chief editor of this particular book. And also, there are also other editors who have also edited. Mrs. Temwa Gasagula, and unfortunately, is not here because of other commitments. She happens to be one of the managing partners at Change Concert Group. And also, Mr. Chifunilo Banda happens to be the MC, happens also to be one of the editors. Mr. Benedicto Tem. There are so many. I think there's a page of acknowledgements. The list is too long, but I can't miss one, Mr. Malonje Pili. Yeah, I think most of you know him. The guy is deaf, but he works with Malawi against physical disabilities. Yeah, so but he's one guy also who did a review of the disability chapter. So there are certain ways which we normally use, we are not supposed to use. He had to guide me on that one. Thirdly, I'm thankful to IBM members, Change Concert Group partners, and all friends for your words of encouragement and also criticisms and even ways of encouragement. I think prior to this launch, I've been writing a lot on my Facebook page and other social media platforms, and there are moments whereby, where do you get these thoughts? This is wrong, this is right, this is good, this is bad, this is trash. But all those things, I had to work on them and also to improve them, and up until we have this particular book. I'm also very thankful to Dr. Print. I think this is a printing house in Lilongwe, and also Merit Commercials, it's okay, a printing house, who have done a commendable job to come up with the designing, everything, and to the product that you are seeing now. So I'm very, very thankful to them. I'm also very thankful to the organizing committee of both events. We had another launch in Lilongwe, I think on Wednesday, and also we're having this launch here. And we happen to have the Minister of Labour attending the launch in Lilongwe, and we're very thankful to her on that. So coming to this book has taken me almost 3 years to come up with whatever you are seeing, or you are going to see, or you are going to read in the next coming days or years. I'm regarding this as a manual for any HR practitioner. I like what Chris said during the panel discussion, to say HR is not for the HR manager. Maybe 99%, Gregory, maybe you can say, maybe 95% of the HR work is done by the line managers, by the CEOs. Because our role mainly is just to provide guidance. You will sit in the disciplinary committee as secretaries. We sit in the interview panel. So who do the interviews? They are the other people. Who do the disciplinary hearings? They are the what? Other people. Who do the performance appraisals? They are the what? These other people. So how much do we train these particular people in terms of, so this can also act as a good guide to them on how they should conduct this HR practice. So they have got this additional role they have to carry in terms of their understanding of issues of labor related. And as secretaries, we are advisors to this committee. So as an advisor, you find is also being advised. Yeah, there are cases whereby an advisor is also being advised by a layman. So we need to understand our profession, at the same time also allow those people who are involved in these processes also to be involved in and understand the best practice. It's easier to deal with a knowledgeable employee compared to someone who is not what? Knowledgeable. So pass on the knowledge to them, train them in many areas. You can use the book. You just have a session, 1 week session to train them from chapter 1 to the last chapter. You are done, and they will not miss any process. The book, I think, has been structured into 10 chapters. In chapter 1, mainly we are focusing on the human resource processes which are not in the law. You know, our Employment Act is limited in many areas. There is no process regarding maybe how we should conduct recruitment. There is no section that will talk about how we should train our employees. The same person you find is going to essay every year. Are you getting it? Yes, without any procedure on how we should do that. But the law is silent.
performance management. The law is silent. Acting appointments. People can act for 2 years. Gregory, how long can one act in Malawi? You can act on a position for 2 years, for 3 years. Yeah. So these are some of the challenges that are there, and I'm discussing in this particular book to say how can we manage this particular thing, and maybe why can we incorporate these issues in our laws so that they are in line with the. Just tell you to say no, employee X. You get what I'm saying? NGO, the same thing. So we should be able to advise them as much as company but we should be able to advise them in a way to say what are some of the procedures, why having the procedure yet you can't follow it. So what I'm arguing in this particular chapter, these are the processes which are not in the law. At the same time, there are also other issues pertaining to chapter 2, which are also focusing on the same issues of emotional intelligence, diversity management. I think they have talked a lot about diversity management here, and so many other issues which are not in a law, but we should be able to use them. And coming to chapter 3, I'm focusing on the Employment Act. The Employment Act, we understand it in different ways, but you find a fully-fledged advert where they're talking about recruitment of temporary employees, and you wonder, where in the Employment Act we have temporary employees? Because even a temporary contract, yet on contracts in the Employment Act is clear to say we have 3 types of what? Contracts. I've tried to explain in this particular chapter on all those issues, and also the changes that are there in line with the section 35 of the Employment Act, which talks about severance pay and the coming in of the Pension Act, how that section was affected, and also even leave. Yeah, what kind of leave there? Yeah, I'm glad that the law had to be amended to look issues of paternity leave, but is it important? I was asking myself, is paternity leave really necessary, rather than coming up with compassionate leave? We don't have in the law issues of what? Compassionate leave. Compassionate leave is in our terms and conditions of service, but we were eager to bring in paternity leave, forgetting about what? Compassionate leave. When an employee who is a woman is working and has to take care of her husband or has to take care of her child for 2 months, what do we do as organizations? Is that sick leave? Is that what? So we are failing to understand all these issues and how to apply them. And also, we find that the woman is always attending to these people. So what I'm trying to argue, these are some of the issues which I'm also arguing. In chapter 4, I think we're focusing on the occupational safety and health. This is one area which is very, very challenging. You go to a workplace whereby during the day, people are using torches in offices, in workplaces. People are using, there's no ventilation. We're talking about light, we're talking about sound. The Occupational Safety, Health and Welfare Act is very clear on what a workplace should be in terms of sound, light, and these other issues. And what are the consequences of not adhering to the Occupational Safety and Health Act? I read, was it yesterday, a story in Balaka on Zodiac to say a fence fell on what? Workers who are working there. You find that workers mitengo, and you find these are employees. I don't know if you have ever seen ESCOM staff when they're fixing wires. They have protective what? Clothing to protect them. But how do we do in our workplaces? There's also another element to that occupational safety, health, issues of HIV Management Act. Do we know that there is HIV/AIDS Management Act? Yes, we have it. And also, what's the role of employers in managing HIV/AIDS? COVID is also another issue which I'm also trying to discuss, to say, can we have COVID as one of the scheduled diseases in the occupational safety? These are some of the issues which we need to be focusing on going forward. But I'm also proposing amendments to these laws. I'm happy that the previous speaker mentioned about some of the laws that are under review. And also in chapter 6, I'm focusing on issues of workers' compensation. How to, I think that one has already been done by my former boss, Mr. Adin. I happen to work at the Labour Office for the shortest period of time. Yeah, so he has already done that. Some of the challenges. I think the book is trying to discuss all the forms that are supposed to be filled and whether you need to, when you are placing someone on group personal accident, is it necessary to provide for workers' compensation, or you can choose one, or maybe you should choose both. So it's also the same situation we had severance pay and pension. Something was under law, something was not law. So the same also applies to, and also I'm discussing case studies. I've put some case studies. For example, you are driving in a vehicle with your family, an official vehicle, you're going to Mangoshi, yeah? You're going for a meeting and you have taken your family and you have been involved in an accident. Will the workers' compensation be able to apply to your family members? What about the GPA? Will it apply to your family members? We should be able to discuss these issues because these are some of the interesting claims that tend to come to the desk of HRs to say, no, I was involved in this accident, it was a family day, and my wife fell, so you should be able to receive compensation and all that. So these are some of the things. And also, there's another angle to the same, to say there's another chapter on pension. I think we know pension came into effect in 2011, and it brought excitement to others, and also it has brought some kind of reservations to other people, and also there are proposed amendments which have not yet been into law. There was a time I was trying to release the book because I was waiting for the amendments to be done. As I said, no, these people will drag me further, so I just went on to publish. But what I'm trying to say is, whatever we are proposing, are we ensuring who should be on pension? Most employees, we are placing them on gratuity. I think my brother, my former boss, Adi, we have been arguing on this to say, most HRs, they doesn't know that you cannot substitute pension with what? Gratuity. It's either you provide, the others is contractual, and they also, the Pension Act provides on what kind of, under what circumstances the gratuity being payable. And also, apart from the chapter on pension, there's also another chapter which is focusing on the Gender Equality Act. Yes, a topic which I like so much. Unfortunately, my sister has gone out, Mrs. Chienda. Yeah, because she's also very passionate about these issues. To say, for example, sexual harassment, issues of sexual harassment, how do we manage that? The HR manager could do a text to someone to say, no, if you want to go to get employed here, then we should meet, we should meet text messages, emails, and all that. You can't be employed here without me. You can't be promoted here without me. You can't be transferred, or you transfer people because of wins, or these are the real issues which are happening. And I think I liked what she had said about some sensitive case. Even myself, I had to ask several people to say, should I include this case, this language, the case of Motor Angel? It was sad, terrible. The lady was able to report to management several times what was happening. You read yourself about the case. I shouldn't, but even the language, as a Christian myself, I was like, but after inquiring, I was told whatever is in the court judgment is what? In the general public domain. That's what I was advised. So that's why hesitantly I had to include it. And also, apart from these issues of gender, in chapter 9, I'm focusing on the Disabilities Act. We have got a Disabilities Act in Malawi. And what kind of rights? I feel bad that was it last week there was a pass out of police where they're talking about having the first a person with albinism. I don't know if you hear that story. And people were celebrating. Imagine in 2022 celebrating someone with albinism joining the Malawi Police Service. What can we do to ensure that persons with disabilities? I happened to interview someone who was deaf. Yeah, how can you handle a situation whereby you have called the candidates you don't know, and you find someone is deaf, or maybe someone is blind? These are the issues which we meet as HRs, and how do we manage? No, I know he is blind. Biases. We always biased. We also have biases, and the scoring won't be fair, and all these issues. I wonder, some buildings of offices or organizations with HRs, the way we construct buildings, head office, I know we're constructing our head office, the HR is there inspecting, but he's not looking at how maybe friendly the building is to people with what? disability. So these are some of the issues that we need to be addressing because I'm also arguing in this particular chapter to say there are cases whereby we are ignoring the people with disability to join the organizations. But what about those that may be disabled whilst working for the organization? You might find that the driver has lost his arm. What do we do if they are a section in the employment retirement on medical grounds? Are we serious? So these are some of the issues. Straightforward case, retirement on medical grounds. There's a case there. There's a case of a motorcyclist who the court determined no, he was not supposed to be what? He was not supposed to be disciplined and maybe retired. So I think in the last chapter, I'm trying to link whatever we do to say it demotivates employees, it motivates the people working in the organization. What do we do as HRs? All these issues, what we do, it demotivates the employees, and in the end, their productivity tends to go down. And eventually, the productivity of the organization, the KPIs, whatever you talk about, the strategic objectives, whatever, you can't be able to achieve that. And in the end, we are going to realize a failure in attainment of the Malawi 2063. Because Malawi 2063, it depends on whatever is happening in all the organizations. And if all the employees are motivated in the private sector, in the NGO sector, in the public sector, are all motivated and are able to contribute positively to the Malawi 2063, you find our country is going to develop. So that's where I end my book to say, maybe I'm proposing some measures which can be done to ensure that we are able to do this effectively. So with these few remarks, I think I should call it a day. I had my prepared speech, but I just thought maybe I can just go into the book and discuss all these issues. But this is what is all about this particular book. So I'm looking forward to interact with you more in terms of maybe you buy the book, we can discuss more on other things. Yeah, but overall, I thank you for your coming. It's a pleasure to have you all here to attend this particular function. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chinovi.
All right, yes, once again, thank you very much, Mr. Chinovi. And Mr. Chinovi is thankful for, to each one of you who has come here. MCA, Malawi College of Accountants, thank you very much for coming. King Fisher, thank you very much for coming. Credit Data, thank you very much for coming. ESCOM, thank you very much for coming. In order that regulates the profession, to us as HRs, Institute of People Management in Malawi, we call them our father, they are our mother, they are the one that regulates our profession. We look up to them for guidance, we look up to them for anything to do with people management. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite in front our pilot from IPM, Mr. Godwin Ngoma. He's going to give us a speech and then invite in front our guest of honor. Mr. Ngoma, please.
Thank you, Mr. MC. Our guest of honor, our author for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say all protocols observed so that I don't take much of your time. Tonight is not a night for many speeches. Tonight is a night for launching the book, and I'm sure that many of you here are eager to get a copy of the book. Many of you are eager to see why you are here. So allow me to change the things where they wanted me to speak, but I want not to speak, but just to interact with you. So I want to see how many of us have had a glimpse of this book, by show of hand. How many of us have read a chapter or so of this book? Good. That's exactly why I was invited to be here, just to find out how many have read the book. So I'll not speak, I'll just ask two of the people who read the book, just come here and explain one chapter you've read. I knew it was going to be very quiet. After hands went up, So in my other part, Gregory will tell you, I'm a lecturer, and after lecturing, we do give exams. And it's only when you're giving exams that the students look at you and say, my lecturer. And maybe that's the only time they would want to speak to you with a smile, thinking that you're going to also mark a smile. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because you forced me to go into talking when I wanted to sit down. The book we are launching today is going to be nothing if we are just going to keep it. The book that our brother Chinovi has written is going to be nothing if we're just going to get a copy, buy it, and keep it in our house. It will be a book if we are going to read it again, and read it again, understand it, and then get to use it. Knowledge is not what you acquire. Knowledge is what you pass on to others. That's what knowledge is. Because if you acquire it and it's in you, no one knows it's in you, and it doesn't get to be used anymore. Knowledge is what you pass on. I'm here today to congratulate my brother Emmanuel, to congratulate the whole family. Mom, I'm saying congratulations to you. It is because of you that today we've got knowledge being passed on. And I believe this is a virtue that you install in your kids. So what you have, share. That's why Emmanuel can take 5 years to come out and share with us. As IPMM, the Institute of People Management, Malawi, today we are very, very happy. This is our day of ultimate happiness. As we sit here today, joined by many of you, to actually physically see the launch of a book by one of us. He is not just one of us, but he is what IPMM should be. Today, Emmanuel is here proving to us that you don't just need to be a professional. You've got to go a step further. And the step further is what most of us have done. We've become practitioners. But you don't just have to end there. You can also go a notch above and become an author. So today, we are branding one of us as an author. And that's what Emmanuel is. That's what we are celebrating. We are not celebrating a simple man. We are celebrating an HR professional, an HR practitioner, but above all, an HR author. That is what we want for us to be celebrating Emmanuel for. I've been made to switch the mics, and to my surprise, this one is the one I should have used, because this one is the one which is projecting my voice. My voice is this deep. I was wondering if the other one. So allow me to start all over again. Is that true? Thank you. So you're all all right. So the guests of honor and the ladies and gentlemen, as I'm saying, the happiness that HR has today is immense. The happiness that IPMM has got to showcase to the world and Malawi in general is many. And it is in that line that I want to stand here and say, let's give a big hand to the author that is born today. It is now my singular honor, ladies and gentlemen, not to take much of your time, but indeed, time has come that I should be able to invite in front of us our guest of honor, who is befitting to stand before us and launch this very book, A Guide to Human Resource Practice in Malawi. Your Honor, this is now your time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
My Lord Justice Kasheche, yes, my Lord Justice Kasheche, the two presenters, Mr. Adin and Mrs. Chienda, the President of IPPM, Mr. Moma, government officials present, employers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here this evening on the occasion of launching the book titled A Guide to Human Resource Management Practice in Malawi. Malawi has a number of acts of parliament related to labor, as you have heard, like the Employment Act, Labor Relations Act, Occupational Safety, Health and Welfare Act, Disabilities Act, Pension Act, Gender Equality Act, Workers' Compensation Act. Now, for someone to discuss all these acts in one book, it is very commendable. In my experience in the court, I've noted a huge knowledge gap amongst employees and employers when it comes to labor issues, on simple issues like annual leave, notice of termination, disciplinary hearings, pension and gratuity provision, strikes, probationary requirements, overtime, contracts, occupational safety and health issues, gender issues, among other issues. I have handled cases where the employers and employees showcase lack of knowledge on how some human resource management process could be carried out. If you read most of the court's determinations, you find that there is a huge gap on what the law says and what the players in the labor industry do. It is clear from most court submissions that the players acted out of emotions or ignorance, which was not supposed to be the case if these people were knowledgeable. This book, therefore, comes at the right time to address such issues. What makes it more exciting is that the book has been written in simple language compared to the legal language mostly used in labor acts, making it simple for a layman to understand. Employees should now be aware of the HR process and procedures that must be followed during their working lives, as discussed in this book. Of late, Malawi has seen increase in court cases related to labor, which is a huge concern in our country, as development requires a peaceful working environment which can spur innovation and increase productivity. As employers and employees, we have a role to play to ensure that. To the executives and employers, the book preaches a clear message that you, employees and the HR officers within your organizations are partners. The latter are there to provide a fair playing ground for both you and the employees. They are there to interpret labor and laws so that you should be employers of choice. It is then my expectation that after reading this book, no executive will rubber stamp HR decisions. Let the courts concentrate on serious court cases. To our author, the man of the moment, be assured the launch of this book debate of yours is not just celebrated by your family and friends you hang out with, but a majority of employees and their mother body, Malawi Congress of Trade Union, are clapping hands for your dedication and commitment. Employers and Employers Consultative Association of Malawi are dancing with you. You have clarified some of the issues that have been giving them headache over time. Your fellow HR professionals and the Institute of IPPM are relating with you. students are smiling with you. They now see how attractive and beautiful our noble duty of people management is. Me, as the High Court judge, I pat you on the back for your enormous contribution to the profession. We believe writing this book of this caliber is the best gift you can give to the people we serve. A book outlives the author. We are ruled by dead men ideas, like issues of democracy. The Aristotle and the like, who were proponents of such ideas, are gone. But now, 2022, we are still ruled by their ideas. Also, as readers, let us read and use insights in this book as we lead people. A leader is a reader. With these few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, to the success of HR profession in Malawi, to the more periodical and book publications, to the more HR policy influencing literature, I declare this book, A Guide to Human Resource Management in Malawi, officially launched.
Mr. Emmanuel, please.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, my lady. And my lord there, we also thank you for your presence, the judiciary, the CEO of Southern Region Water Board, my boss is here. Head of HR, EcoBank is here, Executive Director, IPMM is here, ESCOM, I have seen you, you are here, Ilovo, you are also here. It has come to the time now so that we should auction the book. So, the starting price is 50,000 kwacha. The starting price is 50,000 kwacha. So what we'll be doing is, if you say 50,000, I'll come. We'll give you a book, and also we'll give you a paper so that you write your details for us to be able to follow up as to when we can call you, so that we get the details. At 50,000 kwacha, a guide to human resource management practice in Malawi at 50,000 kwacha. At the birthday, at 50,000 kwacha. At 50,000 kwacha, my lady, are you doing 50 or I can give you the mic?
Yeah, 50.
My lady is also buying at 50,000 kwacha. At 60,000 kwacha. At 60,000 kwacha. Regional Labor Officer, Mr. Frank Adin, at 60,000 kwacha. Should I drop? No, not now. Should push forward. At 60,000? Thank you so much. Your name, sir? sugar. Take it. Measure 500,000. At 500,000. Measure at 500,000. Please get his details, please. Give him a pen, please. Fast. At 500,000 kwacha.
Mr. Chinov, you might want to come in front. Let's honor the measure. Measure, you can come also in front. Let's have your book signed by Mr. Chinov. You can come in front, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. At 50,000 kwacha, my lady has paid, and we are giving her the book. Malize no 5 fancy chat. Ada mukomera. Mesho. Ada mukomera wafuna 7. Thank you very much, Mesho. But anyone who would want to buy it maybe at 6, Emmanuel is here to sign your book.
At 600? At 600? A guide to human resource management practice in Malawi. In Malawi. At 600? At 600? At 600? I'll be going back and forth. At 50,000? At 50,000? Yes, we have the HRM bank.
You just said EcoBank. Bank at the end.
Yes.
And 50,000.
At 50,000? Yes. Your name, Mom? Your name?
So na EcoBank, National Bank, agamba yawo to
Ethel Ngunda, a higher education student loan board. 50,000 At 50,000? At 60,000 kwacha? At 60,000? At 60,000? Ilovo. At 60,000? Take it. Towards power, Ote Malawi Eskom. Potable water for all, always, Central Region, Southern Region.
Satu tisithero amene sakula asatuluke.
My Lord, my Lord, undibatsa zingati, my Lord? You have. Thank you. Abwana anga Southern Region Water Board. Wana wanui. At how much? I should decide. So I should contact, you know. My boss has given me a privilege. I should decide how much. Godwin, how much?
Because it's my brother. Let's just put it at 250.
250. Southern Region Water Board, Mr. CEO, Mr. Duncan Brydon Chambamba at 250. Is that okay? Okay. 250,000. Southern Region Water Board CEO. Come in front, sir. Mr. Chinovi, come in front too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, CEO Southern Region Water Board. Mr. George Nirenda bought 50,000. Wana Jemta Motors, Magadi Moto. Wana Songa. At what? Thank you so much. At 100,000. We are moving. At 100,000. What are we doing with the library? How many? You already have copies.
Kulonga anakula koma ku Blantyre. Library ya ku Blantyre sinakula. Yakulonga simikizana nakula koma library ya ku Blantyre IBM.
All right. Thank you so much. Regional Labor Office. You have it. But we are so many. And I feel this is going office who will under the book. You already bought. National Bank. We library to many of it. To go bank about at 50,000.
African bags, and that are African bags.
We're still selling. At 50,000. At 50,000. At 50,000. Regional Labor Office. Regional Labor Office South, 100,000. Regional Labor Office South, 100,000. Akuti mene yoyo akupanga donate. Mabwana asavela calculation. Ama kaniti mafomu down. Pena siti maoneka koma ama panga calculate.
So Eco Bank it's a regular monitor. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's Makuku 6. 50,000 each. So, then you go to Nikono, I will wait Selani.
Awana achieve. You encourage the little boy. I'm sorry, Mama. Mama, he's still a little boy. You encourage the the man here. Abwana Ajim, good bosses, Abwana will not. He saw a potential. This guy can write. And you are what? 339 pages. Abwana to where? Yes. At how much? Credit data at 50,000. Credit data at 50,000. Abwana Aku Loans Board. Higher education. Is this on the higher education? You encouraged one.
100,000. And that to her Jim Tamoda particular 100,000. We are so thankful. Teacher Mutse Kutsogolo kwa sababu katika full signature ya author teacher again.
Mr. Chinovi, lango yangu kume. Sainani. IPMM yatengapo kale. Kaya tengangati IPMM watengangati hivi. Bwana President, current President IPMM, you have done it well. 2 books we are very grateful. Commander utika panela na. Osati basi leave be basi athalu kuleba office akufuna kupuma atikire chino zibiseni. From ladies and gentlemen, another big announcement. Southern Region Water Board is going to buy 10 books at 50,000 each. 10 books for Southern Region Water Board. Flotek. Nanga tipale muntu amene maota podium timamuziwa ne Flotek. Tiuze nizochita Flotek. Flotek, how much are you buying the book? Thank you. Flotek is buying us at 50,000. Flotek is buying one at 50,000 quite. Nadine, the man next to you is who? No, I'm asking about them. So that they appreciate that we send this man to IPMM and he's bringing goodies.
Alright, representatives of Water Board, let's come and get our 10 books. Mr. Chimwambi, let's hand over the books to them.
Sorry, Abwana Andituma. I'm seeking you
10 books. That's yours. Thank you very much, Southern Region Water Board. Kwameta kulama buku masa rufadi chamblitse Emmanuel, the foreign of Banka Choncho, praise God. Ali sama kula buku, Madita ndiza, mugena chamblitse ndi author watu. We are grateful for that. Yeah, then enough in the book la tumanja tete chamblitse.
And that would zituzi. Tikaponye pa status. Ponya pa status. Zilibe kukula hizi.
Ubanja ndabona. Kula mabuku.
Zituzi madam kutusafutike. Come in France. What do you know? What? You pick it? Come on. One book and a picture. Just one book and a picture. I want to put them. 10 basi. Tamkula po 10 boka kuti a regional head office now so atenge.
Tienti Jamditsen, mabendo kwake kuli cocktail, so tienti Jamditsen.
Beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. We have to be grateful.
So Anzata Malay College of Accountants, thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, MCA.
ESCOM, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
National Bank is Eco Bank is Kwambiri. Alisana Bwina Kuno, we are so grateful.
And tinali sondie nauti anangona diveti kuti ine kumene kundika kalamu zikomo kwambiri. We are very grateful. Thank you so much, my Lord. Thank you so much. Kukotiruba kazo sangara sana. My lady, my Lord. Zosa kutana kwa baba nitakumangu achura ndine mwayi wale lolo. My lady, my Lord. Tikafika mmoja tu makati nje mnada kuveka ma jacket.
Pale ahí.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much. This wouldn't have been a successful event without you.
Thank you so very much. You have made my job very easy. I'm very grateful to all of you. Thank you for buying the book, and we know you'll also be coming forward to buy more. Thank you so very much. Over to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you very much. I know most of you in your personal capacities. I know my office, and you are going to buy the book as institution. Thank you very much. Allow me to pray, ladies and gentlemen. Let us pray. My dear Heavenly Father, thank you very much. Many are the plans of man, but it's you who fulfills them. We planned for this event, but it is you who brought us here. We say thank you very much. Thank you for this beginning of your things of publishing books, contributing to our nation. We say thank you very much. We came here in good health. Even as we are going home, we are praying, oh God, may you protect each one of us. We don't want to lose anyone. We pray this in the name